and welcome in to this week's episode of Praises Corner. This episode is going to be talking about one guy each that you can add off your waiver wire, guys that are available in more than 50% of your leagues that will be able to help you contribute going into the playoffs. Maybe you're struggling with injuries. We still have some bye weeks coming up. Bye week 14 is a big one. So these are guys that can help you win some games that, maybe you're not thinking of as contributors to a championship team. But these guys can definitely help you. Will, how are we doing tonight?
Hey, it's the night before Thanksgiving, so I'm doing good.
I think Thanksgiving was last month. Up here in Canada, we do it right. None of this midweek stuff. We do Thanksgiving in October. But I will be leaving school early tomorrow to come back and watch some football. Definitely can't miss. I mean, probably if I was going to miss any year's Thanksgiving football games, I would hope it would be this one. Not sure how good the first two games are going to be, and then we'll see about the last one if the Dolphins can keep it together. But like I said, we've got one guy each, a guy you can add to your roster who's available in over 50% of leagues. I'm going to start us off here, and I'm going to go, not sure if you can tell by the background, but I am a Panthers fan. With that being said, I'm trying not to be biased here, but to me, Adam Thielen's a guy you can add that can add some value to your team. First week back last week, played 61% of the snaps, 3 receptions for 57 yards. We saw a Bryce Young that looked good. He was one of 3 teams since Andy Reid took over the Chiefs in 2013 to score on 75% of their drives. Only happened 3 times in the past 11 years, and the Panthers were one of those teams. Bryce Young looked confident. He was making throws with people in his face. He showed off his arm talent last week for sure, and he's been getting better coming off 2 wins. A pretty good game against the Broncos defense, which is also another top 5 unit in the league. So we get a Bryce Young coming in with confidence. He gets his number 1 wide receiver back from last year. If you remember, Adam Thielen had a stretch of games where he was definitely the number 1 target. He was a number 1 option when it comes to fantasy football. So for me, if you can get Adam Thielen, he's still available on your waiver wire. I definitely think you need to go pick him up because he's going to be valuable down the stretch. Will, Vikings fan, you agree that Adam Thielen can have some value coming?
Oh, yeah. As long as that hamstring stays, that's just the issue. But is he a sneaky play every week at this point of the season? Yeah, if he stays healthy.
Mm-hmm. Last year, he finished as the wide receiver 17 in PPR leagues, but he had that stretch there of wide receiver 4 finish, wide receiver 5, wide receiver 4. Maybe he's not going to get that same amount of targets, but I still think he'll be the first look. And if Bryce Young's in pressure, Adam Thielen's going to be the veteran guy to get open. Will, your shot's a little bit deeper. We're going from a former Viking to a Viking.
You said find somebody that's readily available on the waiver wire. So there's not a lot left on the waiver wire this time of year.
Yeah. So who's your player that you're trying to pick up?
I think this is a player that's going to give you maybe a touch, 2 catches, 3 catches, and a touchdown every week the rest of the season. And that's Jaylen Nailor with the Vikings, because I think he's solidifying himself as wide receiver number 3, especially on passing downs. And if you look at the Vikings schedule, only 1 more game outside. Everything is indoors. And I think it just fits, where the offense seems to be going. And, and he's available. Most importantly, it's available on your waiver wire. And if you need a wide receiver, even if just for a week or 2, the next 3 games are at home, for the Vikings. And honestly, none of the defenses really should scare anybody. I mean, Arizona's Arizona, Atlanta's Atlanta. Doesn't mean that those teams can't win those games, but the Vikings will probably put up points. And we saw last week that what happened when they decided to just take Jets out of the game. Mm-hmm. 3, 4 targets, 2 catches, 27 yards.
Covered on like every play.
And then Addison, Hawkinson, and Nailor all 8, and Aaron Jones. So I just think Nailor's of the guys, like on Jefferson's touchdown last week that got called, it was Powell who ran a crappy pick and got called for offensive interference, and he should have. It was the right call. But I just think the coaching staff's kind of like, can't have you making those mistakes. So, because there was always some debate whether Powell was wide receiver 3 or Nailor or one of the other guys. And I think if you have a roster spot, you need a wide receiver. He's probably going to get you. There's odds are he can get you a touchdown and 3 catches every week the rest of the season.
Yeah, he's definitely solidified himself, in my opinion, as a wide receiver 3 for the Vikings, especially if you're in a deeper league and you have either some Texans wide receivers or any of the other teams that are coming up that are on bye in week 14. Then he's just definitely a player you can look at. If you're looking at a guy who maybe you're in a deeper league, you've been dealing with the injuries. He has 5 touchdowns on the season already, as you said. So he's a guy that definitely has that touchdown upside. He's essentially touchdown or bust. But he does have that chance, as you said, some favorable matchups coming up, and he's just been able to find himself open when the Vikings have been in the red zone because teams are doubling up on Justin Jefferson, even tripling up on him in certain cases. So there we go. There's 2 wide receivers, one that's available in like 46% of leagues, one available in 54% of leagues, one available in close to 97% of leagues. So you can definitely go take those 2, look at your roster, see if they're available on your waiver wires, and go pick them up if you're looking for some wide receiver help coming down the stretch. Thank you, Will. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you go check out the other episode as well.
All right.